Hello, and welcome. It is, well, we can't say the S word, but it's the big game day on recording. And it's so fitting that we're recording this episode on the day of the big game because I have a question for you guys. But anyway, it's Nichole.
Hello. It's Gabrielle, Celeste.
That's her customer service voice.
We're not including this in the recording, you guys.
We didn't be recording including the recording, but
okay, the people don't know what we're referring to, so maybe the third spiritual sister can speak to this. Hey, Brianna.
Hi, guys. It's Brianna.
Oh my God, there's her customer service voice.
It's my customer service voice. And what we were talking about before we started recording was everybody has a different customer service voice. It's either high pitched, it's completely different from what they sound like than their normal voice. So then I was asking my sisters what their customer service voice was, and Gabby just so happened to bring hers in immediately, introducing herself.
Yeah. Well, they had asked, they're like, well, what is it? I was like, I don't know. So
and she throws it in immediately.
I'm like, it changes.
Okay, give an example, Brianna. Okay, so that was yours.
Yeah.
Hi, guys.
Mine's high pitched.
And Gabby's goes low. Hey, guys.
She's a Kim Kardashian. She's trying to do the seductive one.
In the 2010s, because Kim Kardashian in the 2000s was so different in terms of her voice. But it also changes in terms of like who I'm speaking to, I guess. But I think that goes for anyone. Like it depends on who you're addressing, I guess.
The two that always, I think, change their voice is Paris Hilton and Ariana Grande.
But they do it on purpose.
Paris Hilton has a very different voice.
Oh, yeah.
She's actually
Speaking of different
intelligent.
Voice, who, Paris Hilton?
So intelligent.
Probably.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a video clip from like Michael Jackson at an award ceremony a long time ago. The rumor has always been that he has actually a very, very deep voice, like a very manly voice. And he walks up to the mic and he like said something in such a deep voice. And he realized and he looked up and then he said, "Can you guys hear me?" But it was so funny because it was so deep. And I'm actually really interested because I've seen a couple clips where he like forgets. So check those out. Those were kind of interesting.
Everybody has a different voice.
But I wonder if it's like, okay, this is not what we're talking about today, by the way. This is not what we're talking about. Okay,
oh my God, so we should.
Enjoy the riff before, because you guys are getting it firsthand.
It's because the Sag is with us. So welcome, Brianna. But wait, I need to finish the thought. So I've heard two things, and Paris Hilton said this herself, and this is how Kim Kardashian learned it. It's like they're almost playing a character.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second one, which is what Ariana Grande has spoken to, which I'm just like, I don't know how, I'm not her biggest fan, even though she's a Cancer. She does it to preserve her vocal cords.
That's what they said about Michael Jackson. I think for him, he was playing a character and maybe also preserving his voice. But who else was like Marilyn Monroe, right? She very much knew when to turn it on and turn it off. In the sense of like her voice and even just her actions and her mannerisms. So I would think that that's probably like very common in like all of Hollywood.
I'd imagine it would
entertainment, I guess.
Yeah.
Entertainment, right? It doesn't even have to be Hollywood. I mean, let's think about exotic dancers, right? They very much have a persona when they're performing, and then they very much are completely different when they're not.
Hey,
right?
Guys,
so it's not necessarily Hollywood, but
we also have a persona too. We all look like Adam Sandler, and then we can turn it on when we need to.
I know. I just got out of the gym, so I'm like sitting in my filth, and I was like, hat and this, and then Brianna comes with her hair all cute for once. I'm like, oh my gosh, she's not Adam Sandler.
No.
It must not be raining over there.
Well, I have to do my hair now because I have bangs. I can't not do it.
I'll get mad.
My stylist will hate me.
All right, so what do football players have in common?
Wait, why can't we say the S word?
Well, I mean, you can, but if you notice on like commercials and advertisements, like it's like I think it's like a trademarked phrase that you can't use it in any kind of advertisement. So like if you hear people talking about the Super Bowl, they will say like, oh, for the big game day. Like advertisers cannot say Super Bowl. I think the NFL is like the only one that is like able to say Super Bowl. Pay attention to advertisements. See if you notice it now. I've noticed it probably, I think I started noticing it like 10 years ago, but I'm sure it's always been a thing, but maybe I just wasn't aware of it.
That makes sense. Interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
continue your thought.
Anyway, what do they all have in common?
They got juicy butts.
What else do they have in common?
I don't know.
They're all rich.
I was going to say they all have money.
Oh,
They all
okay.
have money.
Okay. Nice segue.
So today, okay, what do you think? I asked my husband this morning.
Wait, who's going to win?
Taylor Swift's boyfriend.
Oh, no, I want the Eagles to win because I don't want them to win.
We're recording before the game starts, just so everyone knows.
Taylor Swift's boyfriend. His team.
Mm-hmm.
He's a Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What do you think they do before the day? What do you think they do the day of the Super Bowl? I woke up early this morning and I, did my thing and I was thinking, I wonder what players that are playing in the Super Bowl do like the day of, the morning of. Like, how do you think they prepare for the biggest game of their life?
I think they spend, upon waking up and having their whatever routines that they individually have, I think that they have to spend it together as a team for hours, you would think.
I think they probably also get like a little woo-woo. I think they do a lot of visualization.
Mm-hmm.
I can see that.
Same.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder how many of them are spiritual. Because there's going to be a handful of them.
I think without knowing it, they are.
Yeah, because
superstitions. A lot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Visualization is huge for them too, which isn't necessarily a spiritual thing. It's actually like a scientific thing. So I don't know. But kind of wonder what they were all doing. Like right now, it's 4 hours almost to kick off. Like, I wonder what they're doing right now.
Probably
practicing. Are they stretching? I don't know. Like, I would love to know. All right.
Mm-hmm.
But they all have money. We're going to talk about money today.
Everyone's favorite topic. This topic does very well.
I love talking about money. All right. I have 7 signs that you have a money block. Guys, listen up. Well, one of them I combined, so they're kind of like 8, but I felt like they kind of went together. Okay, ready? Sign number 1. You're constantly worrying about money. So even when you have enough money, you're afraid that it's going to run out.
I had that one too, Nichole.
Oh, you had that one?
Yeah. Okay. This is how we prep. Well, should we even say how we prep for the episode?
I said, let it be a surprise. Well, but maybe you don't have all of them.
I'm sure I don't, but that was definitely one of them. Were you going to add to that thought? Because I had thoughts about that one.
No.
Okay. Maybe the way that this shows up to the example that Nichole just shared is like feeling some kind of way about managing your expenses, whether that includes like looking at bank statements and whatnot.
That's a different one I have.
Okay. Okay. And or feeling guilty about spending money.
I think it could be feeling guilty about spending money. I think it's thinking like, I can't afford this. So I also think it's in the language. So worrying about money. I can't afford this. I'm broke. I'm poor. I'm
like being negative towards it.
Not just being negative, but just always being in like a lack mentality. Yeah. I don't have money to do this. I don't have money to do that. I'm broke. I can't afford to do this. Like, I think it's a lot of that.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, well, if you think about it, when has money never replenished itself?
Yeah.
Even for people that are on a fixed income, they still get their money replenished every month. It might not be as much as they would like it to be, but that money still comes every single month.
I was going to add to that and say that it's like one example that I had to the sign that you just spoke to is constantly worrying like you don't or you won't have enough, or constantly worrying about not having enough.
So that's number 2, feeling like there's never enough.
Mm-hmm.
So no matter how much money they make, they feel like they're always scraping by. So you could have, $10,000 a month, you could have $2,000 a month, but it's like never enough based on whatever it is that you're spending money on. I remember a long time ago, I was talking to somebody who made a lot of money, and I don't remember how we got on the subject, but he said something along the lines of, but it doesn't matter because once you make more money, you just get more expenses.
Yeah.
So he said, I've kind of noticed that, right? So maybe for him, for example, like dry cleaning was part of his expenses then, right? Because he was a business guy and he wore suits, right? But maybe before he had that level of money, dry cleaning regularly maybe wasn't something that was part of his expenses, right? So as you make more money, you just start accruing, I think, different expenses or more expenses to kind of keep up with like the level of wealth that you have. So for me, for example, like my nails have been an expense since I was 16. I have always gotten my nails done. That was the reason I got a job and when I was 16 so I could have my nails done. My nails used to cost me $20 though back in the 90s. Now I drop about $100 on my nails. So I'm spending more money on it, but also I'm doing like I go somewhere nicer, it's better quality, things like that. But I also only go once a month. So I make it last for an entire month. I stretch it out for 4 weeks because I just don't have the time either. So yeah, feeling like there's never enough money, no matter how much money you have, right? New levels, new devils, I think new wealth, new expenses, things like that kind of come up. Sign number 3, you avoid looking at your finances. So maybe you get really anxious when you're going to check your bank account, or you ignore your bills, or you kind of procrastinate on any kind of money related decisions because it makes you feel anxious. So, oh, well, I don't know about, booking this trip, or I don't know about purchasing this thing because I don't know how much money I have. Well, you would know how much money you had if you checked your bank account. But then also sometimes people feel really anxious checking their bank account where it's like, oh, like how much do I have? And oh, like I don't like that number. I wish I had a different number. One of the things you can do, I think, and I remember when I took MBA, they talked about having a money date. I think it's like once a month. She said, have a money date with yourself. Go into your bank account every month. Check to see what your expenses are. What do they call like inflows and outflows? So how much money are you getting in? What's your inflow? And then what's your outflow? What are you spending money on? And when you're seeing what you spend money on, are the things that you're spending money on like lighting you up? Do they make you happy? For example, I spend a lot of money on skincare but I love it. It makes me happy. So I'm not going to stop spending money on skincare, but maybe I will spend less money on makeup because I know that when I buy makeup, I tend to just kind of let it sit there. So if I knew, okay, this was like a makeup purchase and I probably like didn't need all of that, but like my skincare stuff, I'll definitely probably not change. But what makes you what lights you up? I remember I was paying even like subscriptions, right? How many damn subscriptions do we have? I was paying for a subscription to, I don't want to name names, but to an app for like a year. And I didn't use it for like 6 months. I'm like, this is just like, why don't I cancel it? And I just never canceled it. But that would have been money that could have been better used elsewhere. It didn't light me up. I didn't even like it.
I can see the sense of spending money on skincare instead of makeup being huge because one, you only have one skin. Makeup is kind of covering it. And our uncle definitely taught us to take care of our skins.
All of them.
All of them. Mm-hmm. Every single one of them. And our aunt, too. Her skin is flawless for her age.
Yeah, I feel like it's an age thing, too. Like, I didn't spend so much money on my skincare in my 20s.
Don't you remember using the apricot scrub? That
thing
is cheap. Devil. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was like cheap. Like, it was just like I would never put that on my face ever again. So, yeah, now I'm like, oh, I have those switched to a lot of natural skincare type stuff.
The Korean
and
skincare?
Some of it is a little bit like less pricey. However, it even lasts a little bit longer. Mm-hmm. So my expenses last month in January were really low because I wasn't spending any money on skincare. Like I told my husband, like I only spent like $40 this month on skincare.
Because it's lasting a lot longer?
Yeah. And he's like, yeah, that's like your highest expense. You don't even spend that much money on groceries.
Gabby's is coffee.
No, it's not actually. It's probably aesthetics. Yeah, it's probably aesthetics as well, but it is skincare. But I've always spent money on my skincare. I never really invested in like spending money on my nails or things like that. It's always been towards like wellness and whatever that umbrella has been.
Yeah, so have like maybe a money date with yourself because it's going to force you to look at your finances. You're not going to be able to keep avoiding them. And then you can look to see, okay, oh, did I really need to spend? Like I was spending probably over $100 a month at Starbucks. But then I cut out coffee and now I don't. I maybe spend $20 a month at Starbucks, if that. And if I looked at that, I would probably be like, this is so stupid. This is so wasteful. Why am I spending so much money on coffee? Like that would have probably been one that I would have cut out because it didn't light me up, right? Coffee just made me anxious. Like I probably shouldn't have been drinking it at all. But now I don't and I don't miss it. And I have like more money in my pocket. Okay. Sign number 4. You believe rich people are greedy or bad. And so they were kind of separate, but I lumped them together. And you feel resentful towards people who have more money. So seeing people with money as like them, they, like other people, they're bad, they're greedy, right? What do we hear? Like money is the root of all evil. Rich people are greedy. And so if you feel that way, subconsciously you think, okay, well, rich people are greedy. I don't want to be greedy. So you're going to subconsciously start pushing like opportunities away, and you're not going to be able to like hold on. You're not going to be able to accumulate money, and you're not going to be able to hold on to money because you associate money with being bad. You associate money with greed. You associate money with being evil. And then you feel a certain way towards people with money, feeling like maybe jealous or frustrated, even though like part of you kind of wants it, but then subconsciously part of you doesn't want it because you don't want to be like them, right? Whoever them is.
I had that as well, but it was phrased a little bit differently. And it kind of relates to the concept of deservability, where like you might be feeling envious of those who have money, but also feeling like either you do deserve to be on that level or you don't deserve to have a lot of money. So like linking that back to deservability.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Someone might think I deserve it. Maybe consciously you think you deserve it, but subconsciously there might be a part of you that thinks you don't deserve it for whatever reason, but you're not aware of it because it's subconscious. It's like under your level of awareness. So that could be part of it too. Okay, sign number 5, you struggle to receive money, gifts, things like that. So if somebody offers to pay for your coffee, if somebody offers to buy you lunch, if somebody offers to buy you dinner, if somebody gives you a very nice gift, you feel uncomfortable. So you either receive it and feel uncomfortable the whole time you're receiving it. You either reject it and say, oh, no, thank you, and just don't take it in at all. Or you can also just maybe like sabotage any kind of like opportunities for you to receive money, for you to receive gifts, for you to receive those gestures.
Yeah, that's one that didn't have on my list, but that's very valid. I've been working on that one. I feel like at the end of this, we should each name off which ones we have. That would be fun.
Okay. Sign number 6, you are living in survival mode. So you're making decisions from a place of fear and not a place of like abundance or empowerment. So you might always pick something that's the cheapest, even though you know that that's not the best thing. Like you're going to pick the cheap hotel rooms, even though you know they might have bed bugs, instead of picking the nicer option where it's like, okay, like I'm going to spend a little bit more to be a little more comfortable and to have these like other amenities. You can maybe say, oh, well, I'm going to buy this cheap sweater from Costco because this was $12 and I'm not going to spend $100 on a sweater that maybe might last me a little bit longer. What was something I used to buy? There was something I used to buy that I would always buy the cheapest one. And I don't remember what it was. Like a sweater, or there was like one specific example. And I remember my husband's one that really like pointed it out. He's like, why do you do that? You end up having to replace it so much sooner than you would if you just like invested in like a better quality jacket or whatever, and then you don't have to like replace it as often or maybe even ever. I was like, oh, you're actually right. Oh, hiking boots. That's what it was. I would always buy cheap hiking boots because I didn't go hiking that often. And so I would get the hiking boots that were like $50. And then one time, one of them came so undone, like the heel and the bottom of it came unglued. We were in Costco and I'm like, what the fuck just happened to my hiking boot? Because we'd just gone hiking. And it was so embarrassing. I had to kind of like drag my leg so that it wouldn't come lift. And that's when he's like, why do you buy these like cheap hiking boots? And I'm like, because we don't hike that often. It's like, but it doesn't matter. Then like this stuff happens and you end up having to buy it anyway. So then when we went, I had to replace them. I got some like nice ones, some nice Columbia ones that are waterproof that have lasted me now probably like 4 years, right? But it's like, how many other pairs of shoes would I have bought by now? Because that same thing would have happened. Like those are probably going to last me another 5 or 10 years. They're so good. So I spent $150 once on a good pair of hiking shoes versus spending 50, 50, 50, 50, 50 every time. So that was one of the things that I really had to kind of shift so that I wouldn't just keep buying cheap things that were going to fall apart on me.
Brandon, you know what example I'm thinking of right now?
Please don't tell me it's the Lululemon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The exact same. I was literally going to speak on it.
Should we share the story?
Oh, okay. I'll share it.
Okay.
I was really envious of Gabby when she would buy Lululemons in high school, and she still probably has a pair to this day.
You were in high school. You were in high school. I was in college.
You had just graduated. So you were in college and I was in my senior year. And I didn't want to admit it. I was envious and jealous that she was spending the money on Lululemons and I was just spending, I don't know, $25.
You used to love your Old Navy leggings.
Yes,
you were trying to convince me to get Old Navy forever.
I still love them. Or the pink ones that had the fold over and it had the pink on the butt. Yeah.
Here's the thing though. I've been this way from the jump, like since I was little. I wouldn't mind
quality
always, and it's because I have Mars and Taurus in the second house. I like nice things, and I'm not afraid to work for it. I would not mind paying $120 for a Lululemon pair of leggings back in the day, right before they had the popularity that they do now. By the way, the quality has gone down so much, and I still have the same pair, and they're still kicking, and they're the best pair that I've owned throughout, however long I've been purchasing from that company. But also in your defense, Brina, I don't even know if you were aware that you were envious. So
I was. I just wasn't going to speak
never mind.
on
I was giving you an
Mom
out.
and Dad would have bought it. Mom would have bought you.
Yeah, if I would have asked, I'm sure, because I had just started. I waited until I finally got my job and I was working and I was like, no, I'm going to buy myself a pair. And at first I was like, Gabby, why are you spending that much money? They're just leggings, blah, blah, blah. And then
I was the same way.
I put them on and I was like, oh shit, these are good. But now the quality sucks. And anytime I wear them, I have a little hole in like the inner of my thighs. And I'm like, this is dumb.
It's gone down because they're mass producing. But
American Eagle, that's where it's at now.
But you know who I kind of, I wouldn't know that I picked it up from, but I think it's more now as I'm aware of it, have been observant of, is our uncle. He's a Taurus. Last night, we went to dinner. And I was like, your jacket is stunning. And I looked at the label because it was placed right next to me. It was a beautiful Dolce & Gabbana long trench coat. And he's like, I've had it for 15 years. I was like, it's paid for itself, honey. Like, that's stunning. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's the point, right? It's like if you buy, you're going to spend more money up front to get it, but it's also going to last you a lot longer.
I think that's something that I've always invested in is just like wellness, because I've learned that, and I picked it up from Dad, actually. He's like, the best investment that you can make is in yourself and spending money on yourself. And I was like, actually, that makes a lot of sense. And it's very true.
When you're talking right now about the Theo, I was thinking about, he had the fanciest bed. I remember I loved his bed with the gray, what was it called? Like comforter and all the gray pillows. And that bed and that set is probably 15, 20 years old.
He still has it.
And he still has it, right? Because it was good quality. He paid a lot of money for it, and now it's still kicking, and it's in the guest bedroom, right? But that's the thing. It's like, okay, if you buy something that's good quality, you're going to have it for a long time versus, I don't want to spend $300 on this bed set. Well, maybe that's what he paid for it back then, maybe even like $500. But also he hasn't had to replace it in 15, 20 years,
It's
right?
nice. It's a nice bed.
So pay the money up front and have something that lasts. Okay.
Mhm.
Last one. Holding on to things just in case. So people hoard money, people hoard resources, people hoard receipts. Physical items, just anything, because they were like, oh my God, well, what happens if I don't have this? What happens if I get rid of these pants that I haven't worn in 5 years? Like, I'm going to want to wear them. No, you're not. Just get rid of it.
Mhm.
Are
I'm
you
not
feeling
saying
a
you
little
be a
targeted,
minimalist.
Gabby?
No, because I know, well, one, it's true, and I can admit that. But two, I know where it comes from. So it's so funny. Mom and dad always used to say, you guys, you are such a hoarder, Gabby. And I'm like, Mom, you still have shit. You
She's
too,
a hoarder.
Nichole. You guys still have stuff at dad's house.
But mine's like memorabilia. It's memories. It's not things that I'm like, oh, I'm going to use it. It's just like, oh, this is like a walk down memory lane.
Yeah. And anyways, the point is that like they definitely called me out on it. And I don't pick it up from dad because dad's very good at getting rid of shit.
No, he'll get rid of everything.
Yeah, he's really good about living in a clean space, being the Virgo that he is. But mom has like shit from 30 years ago.
She doesn't need.
One of them, wait. The sewing machine, you
that
guys?
stupid sewing machine.
Gabby,
the tennis rackets.
The dress that I tried on, mom's jean style.
I have that.
No, it's at the house.
Oh, well, it was in my closet before I moved.
She has that from when she was probably our age, now in her 30s, and she still has that.
I mean, stuff like that you keep, but the point is that she's definitely a hoarder, and I picked that up from her.
She is such a hoarder. The other part of that is, so you're hoarding, resources, whatever, but also you're somebody maybe who eats everything you order because you feel like you have to.
Yeah.
So you don't like to waste food. You might be full and you're still eating because, well, I paid for this. But why? Like, what do you think is going to happen if you don't eat the food? You think you're never going to have food again? We talked about it earlier. Money always replenishes itself. Food always replenishes itself. So why do you need to overeat this? And then people say, oh, because, there's starving people all over the world. So those people are still going to be starving, whether you eat the food or not. Like that, it's not like the food gets sent to them, right? So I think that's like another really big one, which I think if you pay attention to maybe families, maybe look at families who are like stuck in the cycle of poverty versus families who are not. Families who are stuck in the cycle of poverty, I think, are going to be more overweight because they have that mindset of, I have to eat this food. Like, we don't have a lot of money. We can't waste this. I think that is like a big part of it versus like maybe a family who like has more money where it's like, okay, like, yeah. And it's not, and it's, I think there's a difference between being wasteful just to be wasteful, like those people at Earth Cafe that one time, versus like, you know what, I'm full, or I actually just really didn't like this. Like it didn't taste good and I don't want to keep eating it, versus, oh, well, we have the money to waste and spend, so we can. I think that there's like a fine line. I'm talking more of like, oh, well, like, we spent the money. We have to like get our money's worth.
Yeah, it's something that was coming up that's kind of related but not related. I was talking to Dr. Christina Paver. She was on our show around May of last year, and she was saying something to that effect, Nichole, about like, the breaking the poverty cycle within a family. But it was also touching on that, like, say for Hispanics, for example, because she does a lot of work around Chicano studies, how Hispanics, as they're, working and trying to break that cycle, they look older than their age as a result of going through that process and like trying to break out of the scarcity mindset. I thought that was so fascinating.
Oh, that's interesting. I actually think Hispanics age better than a lot of other people.
Who are actually, I'm not going to say that.
Caucasians.
I'm not going to, yeah. We had a whole discussion about skincare in relation to how that can sometimes differ based off of your background.
Yeah. I was listening to Creeps and Crimes, and I don't know what they studied in college. I'm guessing maybe they studied something about history and I don't know. But anyways, they were talking about how darker skin color is like an evolutionary trait based on where you're living. So like if you're closer to the equator, it's to protect your skin versus lighter skin are going to maybe be further away from the equator, but the darker skin actually protects them. And also increased hair on the body is also a protection mechanism for the sun. I thought that was kind of interesting.
That's so interesting. Okay.
But it makes sense, right? I mean, if you're going to be so close to the sun and you look like, or so close to the equator and it's so hot and you look like, you know, like us and our skin's so fair, we're probably not going to do very well, right? But if you have like more protection, like darker skin that can withstand it, it's not to say they don't still get sunburn, but right, it's just like, oh, like this will actually protect a little bit better. I don't know how the hair protects, but I thought that was kind of a fascinating thing about like geography and evolution.
I'm really hairy, so I don't think it protects me.
Can't relate, Brianna.
Can't.
Must be nice.
I only shave my legs maybe once a month, and
same.
I really don't even
Can't
need to.
relate. Every week, if not twice a week.
That sounds awful.
It is.
All right, so those are my signs that you have a money block.
Which one do you relate to the most?
Oh, let's see. I feel like worrying about money, which I'm working on, feeling like there's never enough. It's funny, I feel like there's never enough, but I spend like I have it all. I spend like I have all the money in the world. Let's see. I do avoid checking my finances. I don't like checking my bank account. And I sometimes avoid paying certain bills. And then when I pay them, I'm like, why did I not pay this? This is so dumb. I have one bill in particular. I don't like paying my water bill. But it's because I don't like the system. I don't like the platform for the payment system. It just drives me crazy. So I always pay that one like late because the system drives me crazy. So I don't know if it's a money block thing or just I don't like the platform. And I don't think rich people are greedy or bad. I think money just enhances who you already are. So if you're a greedy person, that's just going to be enhanced and highlighted because you have money. If you're somebody who gives, that's just going to be enhanced and highlighted when you have more money. I don't think money necessarily makes you greedy. I think you are who you are, and it just like shines a light on that. I don't feel resentful towards people that have more money. I just want to have as much money as them. And I feel like I'm getting better with receiving. We did a whole episode on that. I don't feel like I live in survival mode anymore. I think like my husband had to kind of like point that out to me. And then I'm trying to get rid of things. I'm trying not to hold on to things. Because I wasn't like a hoarder, but I would just save things. So I don't know. I feel like some of these I have like a little bit, but then maybe I did before, but not as much. Yeah.
What about you, Brandon?
I'd probably have to say the receiving. It's really hard for me to receive something. And if I do receive it, I'll just want to give it right back immediately. And then probably living in a scarce, like being scarce with money is probably my other one. And having to live as if I don't have enough, even though I'm the type of person that if I get money, I'll just go out and spend it because I like to spend money.
Because she's a
That's
Sagittarius.
another sign.
Yeah. That's probably that's my third one. Yeah, probably those three.
Yeah, but okay, I have said this on another episode. Sagittarians fucking love to spend money. Okay, so
I felt targeted when you said that. When I was editing, I wanted to just close it.
No, it's because Brianna's a Sag sun and Nicole's a Sag moon. I don't have Sag in my big three, so.
Oh yeah, we love spending money, and you're the opposite. You are. I'm like to the penny.
I'm very like I've been this way since I was a kid, actually, because I'm doing so much inner child work. Dad pointed out to me, he's like, you always managed your money, and I forget what it was or how he phrased it, but there was You remember like the little ice cream men that used to come around town? And I guess he had shortchanged me, and I was young, like younger than maybe 8 years old, and was well aware of like money and as a resource and how to count it and all the things. And he's like, I didn't tell you to do this, but you went on your own and you went and got the money that you were owed. And I was like, wow, to be that young and aware of it. But like, I fucking love doing balance sheets. Like, I love seeing how much I spent on that because it's like the organization part of my brain, the systems. I'm just like, okay, if I invest it here, I'm going to get this back here. Like, I don't know. It brings me, it like stirs my masculine energy very well.
Oh no, I just like to spend.
I love spending money. It's so bad. I'll check my account and be like, ooh, I gotta stop spending.
I love to shop. I love to spend. I love having things and experiences.
I also just like to window shop too. Not spending money. I just love going out. Like that will be my break time from my kid and my husband. And I'll be like, I'm just going to go wander Target. I'm going to go wander TJ Maxx.
That's like the most dangerous thing you can do.
But I won't spend the money though. Sometimes I will. Like if I get in that itch, it's like, oh God, she's spending $200, $300.
I spend all that money. Like Target curbside has been the best thing ever because I only get what I need and not what Target tells me I need.
Brianna, you picked that up for Mom, and I've never tried Target's sales. Whatever. Parkside? What is it?
Curbside? Oh, it's the best.
Never tried it.
It's great.
Oh, it's the best.
You can do it with almost any store. Like I'll do it with Safeway sometimes too, or I don't have to go in and just bring me my stuff. Fantastic. I don't have to get my kid out of the car seat. Great.
Yeah. I just want to get out of the car. All right. So,
Gabby,
what do you do?
Wait, no, Gabby has to answer hers.
Oh, I was about to skirt that.
No.
Feeling like there's not enough of it, like not seeing it as a resource that replenishes itself. I think I'm working on that, especially as I am preparing my nervous system and mindset to move away from my full-time job, because that's my goal, and not relying on a like secure form of income that you know you're going to get whenever you're supposed to get paid out, because at the end of the day the companies are trying to do the same thing that you're doing when you're in your business. Like they're securing funds as well for them. It's in an entity as opposed to you doing it yourself. So probably that. I actually have another one that we didn't talk to that I'll just add really quickly.
Add it. 8 signs.
Yeah. You think that making a lot of money is difficult and or impossible. I was just talking to my girlfriend, my best friend, we all know her, prior to the call. And she was like, yeah, it's difficult, but it's not impossible. I was like, yeah, that's a good way of putting it. But it's almost kind of like as a result, and I've definitely had this as I've been applying for jobs, like because you have that belief, limiting belief, you feel like you're like you would settle for maybe like a lower paying job or avoiding opportunities for advancement if you have that. And I think for me, I've definitely settled for a lower paying job in the past just so I could have a form of income, even though I knew I deserved more given my expertise. So yeah.
It's so funny because like I don't mind not making as much money. Like why? I took a pay cut because I feel like my quality of life was worth the pay cut.
Yeah.
So I took instances. Yeah, I took a big pay cut on paper when I got my current job a year ago, but in actuality, I bring in the same amount of money, but I work a lot less. And I didn't know that I was going to be bringing in the same amount of money when I started it, right? It was just like, oh, this is a big pay cut. But I was like, whatever. I'm not going to be working as much. I'm going to have a lot more free time. I'm going to have the summers off. I'm going to have all these holidays and breaks off. So for me, I was just like, whatever. Like it didn't bother me because it was the lifestyle that I was after, as far as like not being as overwhelmed and stressed out.
Yeah, I think that lands true for me with this recent job that I've been in, because that was definitely like my job in corporate prior to, like it was just killing me. And I obviously was making like 6 figures at the time, which is great, but it wasn't worth what I was giving up in terms of like my lifestyle, my balance, like my literally quality of life. And that pay cut was, yeah, you're right. It was definitely worth that. But now it's like, okay, now as you navigate away from this, it's like the security of it and seeing it as a natural resource is what I'm working on, because it's just going to be on me, you know?
We got notice this week that they're laying off like 200
same.
Employees. And then for a certain type of position, which my position like falls under that category, but our position isn't being cut. And then another position like teachers, counselors, psychologists, things like that. And when they mentioned the layoffs, I was like, oh, well, that would suck. I've never been laid off, but whatever. Like, I don't know. I didn't have any like fear. And then I was talking to a teacher and he was telling me like his plans because he's also new. And he's like, yeah, I'm probably going to get laid off. Like, I'm one of the newest people. Like, I'm just kind of expecting it. And he was not worried about it, but he was just more planning ahead. Like, he's been doing it forever. So he has the experience. Like, he's very hireable. He wasn't worried. And I was like, oh, how funny. I was just kind of like, oh, well, whatever. If I get laid off, I get laid off, because I do have a lot of experience. My resume is very impressive. I have, I'm very, very hireable, like based on my past experience, that I wasn't worried like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to get a job. I was just like, oh, I'll be fine. Like, I don't know. I've never had that issue with like work.
Mm-hmm.
I've never been worried about that.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like, I don't think it's kind of related to money, but I don't know.
It's like, you know, you're going to be fine. Like, you'll figure a way to work it out or make it work for you.
Like, I know I'm going to make money. I know I'm going to get hired somewhere.
Yeah.
Like, I know I'll have choices.
Yeah, same.
That I was just like, if I get laid off, I get laid off. And then when I told my husband I wasn't, he's like, oh, we can breathe a sigh of relief. And I was like, I was fine. I wasn't worried at all. But, you know, he was more worried about me getting laid off than I was. I was like, oh, well, more of a break for me.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, wait. So to tie it all up, why is it important to work through money blocks?
Because do you want to stay broke and poor forever, people?
Brianna, thoughts?
So you can receive more.
I have one that's been really coming up for me lately that I've noticed. Because there's nothing cute about being in your 40s and 50s and complaining about money and bringing it up in every single topic. And I cannot stand, as of late, and I like even catch myself, and I don't even want to be this friend where I'm just like, there's nothing attractive about being around that type of energy or that kind of person, because they just bring you down. So when you're cognizant of it and you're aware of it, it's like you want to protect yourself and stay away from that. And you just don't want to listen to that.
You can change your language. You can stop saying things like, I can't afford this. What can you say instead? You can say, it's not in the budget right now. This isn't one of my priorities. I've been really, really shifting my language around money the last year or so. I try to avoid saying things like expensive. I'll say things that are maybe pricey or like that costs a lot more money. Like, I really try to not use that word. What else? You can, instead of saying like, I'm broke, if you say you're broke, your mind is going to look for ways to keep you broke. It's going to prove you right. Oh, you say you're broke, then you're broke. We're going to like keep you here. So switching your language from that to, and you don't even have to say I'm abundant if you don't believe it, but just don't say it, right? Don't speak it into existence. Don't speak I'm broke, I'm poor into existence. What else? What other language shifts can you make?
I feel like also like learning about money feels important as well. Like learning how it can work for you, or even just observing how people who have more resources than maybe you do operate and how they move and how they treat resources in general, not just money, but like, you know, it could be a resource. And then just observe and like see what you can learn and take away from that.
There was a book that I read. I didn't read it. I did the audiobook and I bought the book because I really liked it. And it was called Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. So a couple things about it that I didn't love, and I'll tell you what they were, but there were things about it I really loved. I didn't love how dated the book was. It was very old. He kept referencing people that like maybe didn't need to be referenced, or that like you could just tell it was like old. And then he also like it almost felt like an ad for his intensives, like his workshops. So anytime he brought up, oh, if you want to learn more, you can take my blah, 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 you know, and I was just like, whatever, shut up. So those were the things that I didn't really like about it. But there were some really good nuggets in there of this is how poor people think and this is how rich people think. And it kind of calls you out in the best way possible, and I actually really, really enjoyed that book. I also listened to The Psychology of Money. It was okay. It wasn't one of my faves, but I think that there's some like nuggets in there. That one was a little more recent because I think it was written during COVID. So that could also be a pretty good one to kind of just get you thinking about money differently and seeing money differently. And I have, oh gosh, what's the Napoleon Hill one? Think and Grow Rich. I haven't started that one yet, but it's in my Audible library. That's another one that I hear is a classic. Again, really old because Napoleon Hill probably wrote it like in 1930s or something. But I think that that'll be a pretty good book to just learn about money.
Two quick
Not learn about money, but the mindset of money.
Two quick questions. Okay. Rapid fire, almost. Do you think avoiding talking about money with others is a block?
Depends on their mindset.
It depends. I don't think some conversations about money need to be had with everybody. I don't think it's a block, but I think, like, I don't know you. Why do I need to talk to you about money? Right? Are you, unless you're my financial advisor or you're going to be my financial advisor and I don't know you and I'm getting to know you. But I just think that sometimes it's just like certain things are just not people's business, whether it's, you know, your money, your sex life, whatever. Like, it's just like, well, who are you and why do you want to know this? And like, why do you deserve for me to talk to you about this? I think it's, I just think it's the context, the person, things like that.
Brina?
Along those lines, depend on the mindset. Why do you need to know? Who are you to me? Are
like,
you
why
important?
do you want to know?
Exactly.
I think some people want to talk about it because they want to inflate their own ego. So
Make
they
them
want to
look
talk
good.
to you about like, oh, well, how much do you make? Oh, well, I make this much. And it's like, oh, that's nice.
I still have another question, but there's this acquaintance that we have that does exactly that, but then doesn't have as much as they allude to per, you know, what they say they have and the resources and their financial background that they come from with respect to their family and their family business. So I think that that's very valid. Okay, final question.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Can't stand that person.
Do you think the resources that you do or don't have is a reflection of your energy?
Yes.
Why? Say more.
Because the more I learn and the more I put things into practice, I realize if there's something that you want and you don't have it, whether it's something material or something energetic, it's because you have a block in that area. So if you don't have money, if you want money and you don't have it, it's because you have a block and you might not realize it. If you don't have the body that you want, the health that you desire, it's because you have a block. If you don't have the relationship that you desire, it's because you have a block. So I think everything goes back to there being a block and not either realizing you have the block or not working through the block.
Brandon?
And I think a lot of people don't realize, so they don't know that they have to work through it.
I think it's an awareness thing. I think a lot of people aren't connected, to be perfectly honest. I agree with that.
Brandon? Yeah, I would have to agree with that too, and the awareness of it. Because if you do have a block, then obviously the only person who's going to be able to work through it is yourself. You have to figure out what exactly the block is.
And to the point where, actually, no, I'm giving them too much credit. But I was thinking of the comment that I made about those who are like in their 40s and their 50s that like, you know, talk about money and like them having it or not. And I think it's not cute. I think it's very unattractive if they're aware of it or not. They have an awareness and I think they are aware of it. So, yeah. Anyways.
So what are you ladies going to do about your money blocks?
I'm working on it now. So
mine's a little bit different situation at the moment, but I'm working on it.
That's an excuse. Take off that first part. Take off the first part because that's just a way to get out of it. So I'm working on it. How?
Are you asking me or her?
Her.
No.
Can I rain check on it?
Called out. Called out AF. She's like, that's what I mean, right? There was another one that was on here that I didn't put in there, but it's like people also avoid seeking the help that they need because they can't afford it, because it's like not, so they're like not hiring the coaches or not like doing the steps that they need to do because it's like it's not like important to them. There's somebody, huh?
I will say in my household relationship, even though money is scarce, we're very open to it and we still somehow always get money. Whether it be somebody helping us, somebody doing another thing, part-time work, picking up jobs on the side. That is the one thing between our household that we don't have any issue with. Where if we want money, we'll go get money. We'll find a way to get money. But yeah, there's other
So then
things
change
we can
that
work
language
on.
though too, money being scarce in our household. Like you don't even need to say that part, right? Because if you say money is scarce, money is always going to be scarce.
Yeah, I agree.
So it's changing like those languages. Like, does the language necessarily change the reality? No, but it changes how you see it and like what you can like call in.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, those are my thoughts. The other thing to think about is that for some people, they don't realize it, is there is some kind of hidden advantage of holding on to that block, to holding on to that belief. And that's what keeps them from moving forward and getting past it.
It's awareness though. Like how many
Absolutely.
people, yeah. Like when it's deep in your subconscious.
Mm-hmm.
So
for those of you listening that have money blocks, what are you going to do?
They're going to book an Empower Hour with the Nichole Christine.
Oh, they're going to book an Empower Hour.
Subtle drop.
No, this is what we're doing, you guys. We're going to be better about pitching our offers on our podcast that we've done now over 100 episodes on, that we do with love. So book with Nichole.
You too can.
Book with
I don't have
me.
anything to offer right now.
Hire Brana as a social media editor and manager.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So one of the things that I'm really working on with people in the Empower Hour is finances, relationships, and also health. Those are kind of the three things that have come up. And it's really fascinating. It really reminds me of EMDR, where you think you're coming in for one thing. You think your block is tied to something, and it's tied to something completely that you're completely unaware of. And it's very fascinating to get to the root of it.
mm-hmm.
Book before prices go up, because I'm not going to keep it at the price it's at for a while.
Gabs, I have a question. Is there any specific zodiac signs that typically have a block with money?
I mean,
because obviously, like Sagittarius love to spend money, so that's one where it doesn't seem to have a block.
I don't know if I can like limit it down to that, but I can definitely say that the earth signs have a different kind of relationship to money than the other elemental signs do, because money is directly related to the earth element. So that's Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. And I mean, Taurus rules over the theme of money. Capricorn is very structured and strategic, and they can definitely make it work for you. But Virgos also have that mutability energy too. So I would say, I don't know if it's a block, but they have more of like
awareness to it.
I want to use the word superior, even though that doesn't feel quite right. But they have like a different relationship to the resource that is money.
You know, do you think, if we think about Anna's soul contract readings, that'll come up in there, right? I mean, you'll either have like the millionaire,
totally,
the millionaire program, but I can't remember if there was one specifically that is like the opposite, or is it just if you're not operating in the millionaire? I'm curious about that.
I was going to ask if it comes up like on a chart or something, whether it be.
I mean, some people are just like meant to have money. So like in Taylor Swift's chart, like she was born into money and she's meant to have money, and she is a well-resourced woman. And from what I can tell, just as an example, that because she's so in the media and is well known, like she also gives a lot of her money back And so I think there's also that concept too. Like if you give it out with generosity and without any attachment to it, you are going to get it back in some way. And I think she does.
Right. Someone like her, we were saying earlier, like what I was saying earlier, money just enhances who you already are. So if she's already a generous person, she just has more to give. Somebody like Kanye West, like, is probably going to be the opposite, right? He's not going to be giving his money out to things like that. But that's just who he is. The money is just enhancing who he is. Are we going to do a card pull?
Yeah. Do you guys have one? Or you want to do it, Nichole? And Brianna can interpret.
Oh, God. I don't have a card.
Nicole's going to pull it.
All right. Let's see how this goes. Flying by the seat of my pants.
The Jerry Springer documentary was so fascinating on Netflix. I think it was 2 or 3 episodes. You guys watched the Jerry Springer. You guys watched the Jerry Springer documentary. That was really good. And we started watching The Fall of Diddy. I think we watched it all last night. That was so good. Diddy is somebody who was always going to be very greedy, and the money just enhanced it. I still think Diddy's a lame. I told my husband I've thought Diddy was a lame since I was in middle school. I don't understand why. I don't know. I don't understand why people were scared of him or how he had so much power, because I think he's just such a lame. Anyway, I'm pulling from Awakening Intuition. You don't have to interpret this. One is very self-explanatory.
Perfect.
Harmonize head and heart. Your energetic heart contains the soul's memory and wisdom, so your heart should be part of your decision-making process. Your heart knows where your soul is going, yet the rational head maps out the heart's desire. When the pragmatic head and intuitive heart compromise, you lead a more soulful life. Okay.
All right.
All right, guys, if you have money blocks, come and book with me, and let's get rid of those money blocks, because I want to see y'all have lots and lots of money.
Facts.
Okay.
Till next time.
Bye.